That's right, it's me, the Grinch. Don't miss seeing me at Children's Theatre Company this holiday season. Can those Who's down in Whoville make me into a lover of Christmas joy? Doubtful! Yeah, but you'll have to come and see for yourselves. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas is the perfect holiday treat for the whole family because of me. Yeah, the Who's are in it too. But you'll love it anyway. Tickets and showtimes at childrenstheatre.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 51. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 31. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 53. There's only 2 weeks left to see the enormous crocodile at Children's Theatre Company. This mischievous Roald Dahl adventure bursts with puppets, music, and a jungle-based imagination. Don't miss the wild finale of this hit family musical, running through November 23rd. Tickets at childrenstheatre.org. That's childrenstheatre.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPTA 20, Chicago's progressive talk where facts matter. Welcome to The Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in these United States. I'm your host, John Parker, joined by my executive producer, Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
Okay, what is on the show today? The new White House correspondent for the Washington Blade, Joe Reberkenny, will be here in the second half hour of the show. I say new, he has been on the beat for a few months now and getting the lay of the land. The Washington Blade is the only LGBTQ publication credentialed as part of the White House press pool. So we are very lucky to have established this, to have him joining us now bi-weekly, starting today on Wednesdays. Very excited about that. Thursday mornings for folks in Chicago. What will we be talking about? Well, Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva will be sworn in on Wednesday late afternoon, is what it's scheduled to be. Joe had an exclusive one-on-one with her last week, so we're going to get the details from that conversation. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and Joe has new exclusive reporting on the status of the lawsuit against Trump from the lead plaintiff in that case, Talbott versus Trump. And we can't get enough of Kim Davis losing. So Joe is going to give us some updated reporting on her epic loss at the Supreme Court and how she owes $360,000 to the gay couple who she refused to give a marriage license to 10 years ago. 10 years ago. That will be in the second half hour. Jim was on special assignment yesterday at the Guthrie Theater. The Guthrie is going to be mounting a new production of Somewhere. It's written by Matthew Lopez, who is an out gay playwright and screenwriter. So Jim is going to share his reporting from the Guthrie yesterday. But up first, if you are listening in the 2 p.m. Central Hour, or if you're watching right now on YouTube, I want you to call 952-946-6205 and give me your reasons of why Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has got to go. 952-946-6205. Or you can leave us some comments in the chat on YouTube. But this guy, it is time. Thank you for your service, Senator Schumer. We really appreciate it. It is time to step down.
I'm sure you've heard the speculation. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I'm not necessarily
time to go.
That. But there are people that are saying there's no one that wants to do the job.
Don't care.
Which I could believe.
Doubt that.
But you've got to have somebody
No.
that.
No. That is a bunch of BS.
Well,
that are folks saying we don't want to have an accountability here, whatever. So they're trying to plant this story that really none of the other senators would want and welcome a leadership role. I call BS.
Nobody's raised their hands, and I would ask you to give us a name of who you think would want to do that, and we should try to pursue that. I would love to find an alternative. I think Harry Reid and Charles Schumer have been terrible in their jobs, but I don't know of a senator. I can't name a senator who I think has indicated they have interest.
I have one.
Oh, good.
I have one.
Okay, who's that?
Who would be absolutely perfect?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Who?
You ready?
Yes.
Senator Adam Schiff, junior senator from California. That would drive Trump
He would probably.
insane.
Yes.
He would lose his mind if the
Yes.
Democratic caucus right now nominated Adam Schiff
Yeah.
to be the minority leader.
Okay. Well, we don't know if Adam's interested, but
And it's time
that's
for
a-
it's time for a generational change. I know we've
I
been saying
agree.
this for
I
a very
agree.
long time. Chuck Grassley is over 90 years old.
know.
Dianne Feinstein literally was not coherent and she died at her desk.
Oh.
Like, enough is enough already.
Right.
It is time to step down. And if he doesn't want to I'm not saying resign from the Senate. He is no longer
Right.
effective as a majority leader.
Right.
He is not what we need. It is time to go. What are your thoughts? 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. And if you agree with me, I even love those calls the best. Jim, you can keep going.
Well, no, I think I think you're being arbitrary.
Mm-mm.
Chuck Grassley is an embarrassment, but he was an embarrassment 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So I don't feel like that is just about age, but I think that's a gross oversimplification. But I love the idea of Adam Schiff, and I think that if Adam's interested in that role, I think he would be fantastic. And I challenge you to come up with a name, and you did. So good on you.
There you go. It's just this whole thing was orchestrated to prevent accountability. Let's go through the senators, please. The magical number of 8 senators, exactly the number that they needed to cave and to pass this bill without any negotiation. Could not about the ACA healthcare premiums. We've got Senator Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire. She's retiring. Can't primary her. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, retiring. Can't primary him. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, his term doesn't end until 2031. Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, term doesn't end until 2028. Senator Angus King of Maine, term doesn't end until 2031. Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada, term doesn't end until 2031. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, term doesn't end until 2028. And Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, term doesn't end until 2028. This was manufactured to make sure that there would be no accountability. And you did this for 40 plus days and got nothing out of it?
50 days, I think it was, wasn't it?
We've got Patrick on the line from Hopkins, Minnesota. Patrick, what are your thoughts?
I do believe that it's time for Chuck Schumer to go, just because we need a changing of the guard. And I think there's a bigger problem, though, with our two bodies of legislature. Both of them, especially the Democrats have too many conservatives in their party. If you look at most of those Democratic conservatives in the Senate, they're right. They claim to be moderate, but they're right, and they lean to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for all practical purposes, that the both parties do have their differences, but I think they're both more alike than they are different. And I'll just take any comments off there. Thank you,
Patrick.
Thank
I on economic issues, and I think when we have the Sam Hunicke, who's an associate professor of history at George Mason, when we have him on monthly, he's very clear about this. He's like, on economic issues, the Democratic Party has gone to the right, absolutely, on that. And he says they kind of attempt to appear moderate. What they do is they do that on social issues, right? So I think on LGBTQ issues, it's night and day. Like the Republic MAGA is an absolute nightmare when it comes to the queer community. I mean, hands down, nightmare. But when you look at the economy, when you look at trade deals, when you look at immigration, it's all on the right-hand side of the aisle. All of it is healthcare. Healthcare, I think, is an interesting issue for the Democrats. But even the plan that they adopted in the Affordable Care Act came from a Republican governor.
Yep.
Right? It was actually the conservative plan that originated out of the Heritage Foundation, I learned all of this when I worked in health equity work for the queer community a few years ago. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Because I thought Massachusetts, liberal state, it must have been from a liberal point of view. Nope. The Affordable Care Act came from the Heritage Foundation.
Romney.
And then Romney and the the Massachusetts Commonwealth, they did their thing with it. And then it got to where it got. But there are so many things, the economy, immigration, and on healthcare, where we are on the right side of the aisle, not the right side of the aisle. We're on the conservative side on the aisle. And I will, as a dual citizen of France and the US, I will continue to say this to every American. What you all think is the far left, the rest of the world thinks is centrist. The rest of the world thinks is centrist. You think the policies from Bernie and AOC about healthcare are the far left? Every single country, including Trump's darling of Hungary that has an authoritarian leader, they have universal healthcare. Right. And they're investing in their universal healthcare. They're not dismantling their healthcare. Right. They're investing in their universal healthcare system. Right. So it just, thank you, Patrick, for the phone call, because they're on some issues, absolutely, they are very much on the conservative side of the aisle, and we do not have enough liberals and progressives who are leading the way of the party, which is why I'm so thrilled that we had Zohran Mamdani as now Mayor-elect Mamdani. Because we're going to see what it's like to have a progressive running a city and, a democratic socialist running a city. Is he going to get everything done that he wants to get done? No, he's not. But to be able to wrench New York City to the left and show these are what actual policies that can be done. This is how it actually helps the working class. But there has to be accountability around this. There has to be accountability around this, and the accountability needs to come with Senator Schumer stepping down. He's had his chance. I think he was an incredibly ineffective majority leader for President Biden.
I agree.
And we can sit there and we can sit now and look at all this gerrymandering fiascos and go, how did it get to this? Well, the Democrats sat around and did nothing under the Obama administration until they were leaving office and went, guys, there's something going on over here with gerrymandering. We should really, look into that. Attorney General Holder was suddenly like, hang on a second. But it's very difficult to me. I said this on Monday. It's very difficult with complex, deep problems to be able to blame them on a single person in a single point in time. But we do have that when it comes to gerrymandering. And it was Senator Schumer, and it was in 2021 when they had the opportunity to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act that would have addressed gerrymandering. And Senator Schumer chose the filibuster over getting stuff done. It's time to go. That's what I got to say. If you like, I am fired up today. I feel like I'm shouting into the microphone. But if you like our political coverage, tomorrow on The Gailey Show, we have a full hour with Representative Lee Finke, who represents District 66A in the Minnesota legislature. Then on November 17th, we'll have Minnesota House Rep Liz Rayer to talk more about what's happening in Minnesota. And then on November 20th, Kirk Bangstead from Wisconsin will talk about his new political news program, progressive news political program. So stay tuned. You're listening to The Gailey Show. More after the break. Hey friends, this is John Parker from The Gailey Show. When I travel, I want to go somewhere where I can unwind, get back to nature, like with waterfalls and hiking, enjoy some classic downtown shopping with good restaurants, and also just be myself as a queer person without worries. That's why twice a year for the past 10 years, I've been visiting Michigan's Marquette County. This fall, join me and head up to the Fresh Coast. Visit travelmarquette.com to start your journey.
So an atheist, a Christian, and a Buddhist walk into a church. There's no punchline. That's just what happens every Sunday at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. Join us for Sundays Reimagined or live stream at firstunitarian.org. Looking for community without doctrine? Questions without judgment? Think outside the pew. Join us for Sundays Reimagined at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis or live stream at firstunitarian.org.
November is Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor Indigenous history, art, and identity. At the Minneapolis Institute of Art, celebrate the contributions of Indigenous peoples across the Americas with programs and exhibitions that center around cultural resilience and deepen understanding through creative expression. MIA's month-long celebration includes free activities for the family, art making for adults, and a special showing of Smoke Signals, a story of friendship and healing. Celebrate, learn, and connect at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Find full details and ways to participate at artsmia.org.
On Saturday, November 15th, One Voice Mixed Chorus presents the concert Protest Lines, a concert and community sing at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium. Hear the chorus perform powerful music of protest and then join them as they teach you songs to take to the streets. This is a true community sing-in for the times we are enduring. Go to onevoicemn.org to buy tickets, onevoicemn.org.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I'm John Parker. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour. I am in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds. And this just came across my feed here. Wednesday is a historic day for another reason. Officially on Wednesday, November 12th, the U.S. Mint ended production of the penny. According to the Associated Press, the last pennies were struck at the Mint in Philadelphia, where the country's smallest denomination coins have been produced since 1793, a year after Congress passed the Coinage Act.
Wow.
Officials have said that the final few pennies would be auctioned off. They will remain legal tender, but no new ones will be made.
I kind of supported that. There was a lot of talk about copper, people stealing copper out of buildings and things like that. There was no reason to have that pressure on the copper market by making pennies, given what's happened with inflation.
I'll be curious then what happens to, if people are, you can use them still, but I guess people will start to phase them out, particularly if vendors and, malls and whatnot are rounding things up now and nothing's $2.99, something is $3.
Right.
I don't even know if they'll do that though, but what's going to happen to all the pennies? Where are they going to end up? Just in fountains everywhere?
No, hopefully they'll melt them down and use the copper for buildings. I think buildings use a lot of copper.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
We're all going to live through it. We'll find out. Yeah. All right. So, Jim, you were on special assignment yesterday at the Guthrie Theater in downtown Minneapolis. The Guthrie is going to be mounting a new production of Somewhere, which was written by Matthew Lopez, an out gay playwright and screenwriter. So what can you tell us about Somewhere?
Well, I wanted to explain the process a little bit. If you don't know, when any show starts, and this is even true in semi-pro and smaller theaters, you kind of have a first gathering, and that's what this was. And the Guthrie typically does not invite press to that, but now they're starting to sometimes. So we sat in a room with the cast and with many people that work at the Guthrie, and the entire artistic team that was there. Some were on Zoom, and usually the director gives introduces all the various people and gives acknowledgement to, everybody, the development people and the marketing people and the box office people, and, it's sort of a cheerleading a little bit, but the director also gives a perspective about the show. What is it he or she likes about it, or what do they think this production brings to the conversation? And so we went through that process and heard from each one of the designers. So somebody talks about the color palette for the scenic design, and they talk about the costumes and how they change throughout the show, and the lighting design and the sound design. There was a composer. I'm not sure where he's located. He's going to be coming to the Twin Cities eventually. But he was talking about some original music that he's creating, because this play has been described as a play with dance. So it's not a musical, but it's musical-esque, I guess I would say. It's about a Puerto Rican family in New York in 1959 who Matthew Lopez, who did get up and speak, who was there and is going to be here for a couple of days, said that a lot of it reminded him of he was evocative of his family. And this particular family has an interest in show business. They're all kind of about show business. And so the story continues that they lose their apartment due to the building of Lincoln Center in New York. And we've all heard about that, how freeways and other things that we all look at as great progress actually have a price, don't they? They take poor people's housing and, decimate neighborhoods and all of that. So that's part of the story. They wind up in a smaller apartment, and the pursuit of the dream of working in the arts is kind of what this is a pay on to. So it was interesting to hear Matthew Lopez, who wrote the screenplay for Red, White, and Royal Blue, who I think a lot of people in the audience probably know, and he received an Emmy nomination for that, was very honest about how this was my second play. And he said he worked for some tech company, and he said, I probably owe a little bit of this to them because I actually wrote this on their computers.
Yeah.
And so he was very self-effacing, and he gave a shout out to regional theaters, how important regional theaters are, that New York is not the end all be all. New York is not the entire theater business. And it was nice for him to be generous about that. Joseph Hodge spoke about the play and why he thought it was important. And then an important element was he introduced the choreographer, who in a play with dance, because I think there's some fanciful elements here where people go off into their imaginations or a dream, and it becomes very theatrical, and then it comes back to reality. And so she got up and spoke about, her philosophy about choreography. So the idea is, if you're part of this company, no matter what you do for the company, you get an insight into this play whose title you might have heard, but you don't really have any sense of its texture, any sense of its specificity. And now you get it from all these different perspectives. And it was, as a person in the media, I guess, it was interesting. It was a very deep introduction to it. Now there's a 4-week period where they get ready to put it on the stage. I think it opens on December 13th and runs till February 1st. And it's on the proscenium stage. The Guthrie wanted a proscenium.
The McGuire proscenium stage.
They moved to that, when they moved to the new facility, they wanted a proscenium because they wanted to be able to take shows and occasionally develop them so that they could transfer to Broadway, because they're sort of in the round or three-quarter facing stage of the old Guthrie. You'd have to completely restage and reconceive something to move it to New York. So it's going to be on the proscenium stage, and they introduced the cast. The only person I knew was Rush Benson, who's an understudy actually for a couple of roles. So it was nice to see Rush. So it was a very fun, kind of inspiring moment. After we all left, they were going to do contracts and union elections and, get ready to have their first read through, which is where you get down to the business of it. But it was interesting to see at that level of theater, to experience that was fun.
And for folks, for Matthew for folks who don't know about Matthew Lopez, yes, directorial debut with Red, White, and Royal Blue. I don't know if he was at the GLAAD Media Awards because that was the year we were nominated, and I know it won, but I don't know if he was there for that. But most queer folks don't know him from that. But his play, The Inheritance, is considered one of the most honored plays of all time because it's won like everything on both sides of the Atlantic, Tony Awards and Olivier Awards in the UK, which is their version of a Tony Award. And Matthew Lopez became the first Latino writer to win the Tony Award for Best Play. And the director of the production somewhere, Joseph Hodge, is also the artistic director of the Guthrie as well. But we have to hit a break. Our time is up. So that show will run December 13th through February 1st. Stay tuned. More details from us. You are listening to The Gaily Show on AM 950. More after the break.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good, how are you? You're on a hot mic, so we're still live on YouTube. Hey, YouTube.
Perfect.
Just to let you know that. Okay, I think I've got everything ready to go on our end. Do you have any questions for us?
No, I also grabbed an extra if we wanted to talk about, / if we have enough time, but based on last time, I tend to talk a little bit more than not. I've got a little like Blue Wave kind of story if we wanted to talk about that, but I have a feeling you guys might be over that topic already regarding.
Oh, no, are you kidding me? No, we love all of that. How about, so let's start with, because it's about to happen in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
With Representative-elect Grijalva. Maybe we start there. And then, because yesterday was Veterans Day, we could do your story with Second Lieutenant Talbott, Blue Wave, and then Kim Davis.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We'll do that. Do you is it on the website?
All of them are up. Yeah. All of those stories are up.
I'll take a look at that real quick here. We're gonna have to switch back to the radio feed. So if you see in the private chat there, I'll put in the time cues. We're just about 2 minutes out.
Perfect.
Cool.
You just need to call 9520-RES or go to zeroresminnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Celebrate the Thanksgiving season at Ferndale Market's annual Turkey Fest, happening at their on-farm store in Cannon Falls from November 21st through the 26th. It's a beautiful drive from the Twin Cities. Reserve your fresh, never frozen Thanksgiving turkey for pickup at Turkey Fest. While you're there, enjoy delicious food samples and grab lunch from a food truck. Enjoy their family-run farm. Again, that's Turkey Fest, November 21st through the 26th at Ferndale Market in Cannon Falls. If you can't make it to Cannon Falls, don't worry. Use Ferndale Market's online locator to find out where you can get your 100% natural and delicious Ferndale turkey. Ferndale Market is a third-generation family farm that raises free-range, antibiotic-free turkeys. Their fresh Thanksgiving turkeys cook faster than frozen ones, giving you more time to enjoy the holiday with loved ones. Visit ferndalemarket.com for more details and to reserve your fresh turkey today. Make this Thanksgiving unforgettable with a farm fresh turkey from Ferndale Market.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 51. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 31. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 53. Make it a night to remember at Crooner's Supper Club. Incredible live music, 4-star food, handcrafted drinks, and first-class service, all in the classic supper club setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPTA 20, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Welcome back to The Gaily Show. I am John Parker, in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds, and we are already 33 minutes after the hour. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel right now. If you're there and you like what we're doing, subscribe, click like, leave us a comment. Since 1969, The Washington Blade has been the nation's independent source for fearless reporting, earning the paper the moniker the newspaper of record for the LGBTQ plus community. You can read their award-winning journalism at more than 100 locations throughout the DC region and online at washingtonblade.com. And also they have an excellent weekly e-newsletter that comes into your inbox at the end of every week. Joe Reberkenny is the White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. He is a graduate of American University where he studied broadcast journalism and political science with a focus on gender, race, and politics. He covers LGBTQ issues and political news with a particular passion for exploring queer history in the nation's capital. Starting today, Joe will be joining us bi-weekly on Wednesdays to share his reporting from the Capitol, as the Washington Blade is the only LGBTQ publication credentialed as part of the White House Press Corps. Joe, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here.
Thank you guys for letting me join you guys back again. I had such a great time last time, and I'm excited to make this a regular occurrence.
Perfect. Well, you've got a couple exclusives that I want to dive into here. First, in just about a half hour or so, according to the Associated Press, Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva will be sworn in as the newest member of the House of Representatives. You had an exclusive one-on-one interview with her last week. That was when it was like 41 days since she had been elected and hadn't been sworn in. I think we're now at 48 days. Can you remind us, what was Speaker Johnson's excuses for why it took this long to get to today?
Yeah, he had a few excuses to delay Alita's swearing in. He claimed procedural review, but most of it kind of fizzled under any scrutiny or continual looking into it. Most of it seemed like it was a push from the Trump administration to prevent, most timely, I guess, being the Epstein files being released, which I don't know if we've been looking at Twitter or any other sites right now, but there are some documents coming out as we speak that are not looking too great for Trump in terms of connections to Epstein and some of the affairs that he was charged with. But back to back to the soon-to-be representative. She's represented the 7th district in Arizona. Well, following her father's passing, she was elected in a special election in September, and is now the officially longest delayed member to be sworn in.
Wow. So when you talked with her, she seemed pretty clear that it was her being the 218th vote to release the Epstein files that was the reason why this was taking so long.
Yeah, it was emphasized again and again that it shouldn't matter regardless of what the speaker's decision was or side on the matter is. The people of Arizona elected her to represent them, and he is withholding a voice for over 800,000 people in the districts in Arizona. So it emphasized again that it was most likely due to the context of the Epstein files and, just having another Democratic seat, although it's not flipped. Her father, when he represented the district, was also Democrat, but, still a Democratic voice outwardly speaking against the current administration.
Well, the district had been without representation since her father's passing, and then this extra 40-odd days, almost 50 days on top of that. She said something to you that I was like, oh, yeah. She's like, actually, we both ran, Trump and I, on the exact same issue of release the Epstein files.
Yeah, which was kind of a funny thing to recognize, that as soon as he got into office, he pushed it under the rug, said it's nothing, and now it's a Democratic hoax. But she still is running on it, and it obviously went well for her to keep fighting for the release of the files. So yeah.
So once she is, and it's going to be on Wednesday, late day on Wednesday, a seated member of Congress, what did she tell you were the issues that she is looking forward to taking on besides getting the Epstein files out?
Yeah. So she mentioned specifically LGBTQ issues that was harbored a message to me, representing trans voices and the rights of trans people, not only in her district, but across the U.S. Environmental concerns. She mentioned how there are point blank rollbacks from the Trump administration from various environmental agencies that is harming the people in not only your district and again across the United States. Those were like two very big ones that she mentioned. The Epstein files, of course, and she wants to be it seems slightly more progressive, not super out of line with traditional Democrats, but maybe a little bit more vocal, I guess, than some of the other House Democrats have been in terms of various issues. But yeah.
I'm curious because her district does share a border with Mexico, and obviously the Trump administration has been editorial here, a nightmare when it comes to how they're handling immigration issues. Did any of that come up in the conversation that you had with her?
We didn't talk too much about that. Honestly, we kept it most to just LGBTQ issues and, why she felt she was being delayed. But she did mention that it is a large chunk of her district is right against that border. And there are a lot of people who do travel across that border for work, for family, for a bunch of things. And she wants that right to be able to, move freely and to be still a right that they have as Arizonans and Americans.
Mm-hmm. On her positions related to rights and healthcare for transgender Americans, what did she tell you?
She gave me quite a bit of good quotes, specifically that trans rights are human rights, period, which was fantastic to hear from somebody so definitive and so strong in support of trans rights. And that I also mentioned, which I'll mention in a minute, I spoke with a former or a current military member who is trans and who is possibly getting kicked out of the military for being trans. And I asked her, what are your thoughts on this? There's a lot of cases that are unsure about federal, military members who are trans. What are your positions? And she tied it into Veterans Day being yesterday, and said that we shouldn't be picking and choosing which veterans are worthy of our thanks. If they're supporting our country, if they're fighting for us, they should get all of the praise that they deserve and all of the money and healthcare that they're entitled to. Yeah.
We are talking with Joe Reberkenny, White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. That's a really great segue. So yesterday was Veterans Day. Tuesday was Veterans Day. And you published another exclusive interview, this time about transgender service members. Your interview was with Second Lieutenant Nicolas Talbott of the U.S. Army, who is the lead plaintiff in Talbott v. Trump, which is the case against his executive orders to ban transgender service members. Can you remind us about the case and what it is alleging?
Yeah, so it is the Trump administration is arguing that there is the trans people who are in the military are not equipped to meet the standard of the military anymore. Just all of a sudden, they've decided that despite meeting physical, mental, and otherwise standards that they have overwhelmingly met, that they're not worthy of being in the military, that they're not. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think what's confusing to a lot of people is the current status of transgender service members. So is Second Lieutenant Talbott currently serving? Is he on leave? Has he been discharged? Like,
it's kind of a limbo. He's not technically not been discharged yet. There is the court proceedings are making it even more complicated in terms of finding out where he is and where the general thought of the courts and the executive orders are. But it's really just confusing in terms of a lot of avenues and questions about where we are for trans veterans and service members.
So, like, he's working.
He is technically, I believe it's more of like a leave. Yeah. It's from what I've gathered, he's there have been other trans service members who have point blank asked not to be mentioned by name in other interviews I've done because they were still working and there were more details, but being the named person in a lawsuit does give you kind of that name recognition and ability to speak out. But yeah, it was a lot of the discussion we had was about how all he wants to do is fight for the country, and his entire life has been dedicated to doing this. He went to school for it. He went to graduate school for this, and is just being withheld despite being completely physically, mentally, emotionally qualified and actively ready to do it.
Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court told the Trump administration that, yeah, go ahead, proceed with this, even though the court case is still working its way up there, which maybe that's a tipping of the hat or, thumb on the scale for that. Where is the case, though? Like, is it in a district court? Is it like...
It's in the DC court.
Okay.
So it's slightly different given, it's not a state. There are certain specializations in DC's court that does make it a little bit different, but it is on the way to being moving. I guess that's the best way I can put it right now.
Because these take a long time. How is that factoring into his psychology right now of recognizing this isn't going to be over tomorrow? It's not going to be over at the end of 2025, and maybe not at the end of 2026.
And that's perfect. That's exactly what he talked about, was that the uncertainty of this whole situation, something, again, that he's given his entire life, his entire education, passion for, has been put essentially just on an indefinitive pause. He doesn't know if he will get paychecks in the future. He doesn't know if he will be able to afford medical care that, especially for trans people, is crucial to their livelihood. There are so many things that are just up in the air that only add to the uncertainty and to the uncomfortableness of this whole situation.
In this exclusive, you also spoke with Jennifer Levi, who is the Senior Director of Transgender and Queer Rights at GLAD Law, who is leading this case. And as you reported, Jennifer was also the leader of the legal fight against Trump 1.0's ultimately failed military bans for transgender service members. I'm curious about what her take was on the differences between 1.0 and 2.0.
Yeah, I point blank asked her about this as well, and she emphasized that this attempt at stripping trans service members and veterans away from their rights as military members is, quote unquote, more cruel than the first. Like, she point blank said that the policy itself just categorizes trans people as dishonest and untrustworthy, undisciplined, and it is really just so much hyped up compared to what it was over 4 years ago before Biden took office that he was trying to push.
I mean, does a statement like that make her feel good because that's so easily disprovable?
Regarding
I mean, for
yes.
arguing the case, I mean, that is so easy to disprove that. I mean, just bring in 5 people and you can go, wait, what? This doesn't even hold up.
That was another thing that she mentioned. And honestly, I talked to Talbott about this, and he point blank said, I feel, if anything, my trans identity is a testament to my ability to commit to something and to fight for something that I believe in wholeheartedly. And if, I'm fighting for something, whether it be my gender identity or the nation, I will be fighting tooth and nail until I can't fight anymore. And that was what a message that was rang clear for both of these people, was that they know that this is morally wrong, and that they felt that they have the understanding that they should be doing what they're doing, and that kind of motivates them to keep fighting.
I have to fit in a break here. We're going to have more with Joe Reberkenny, White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. Before we go, do check out our GLAAD Media Award nominated podcast, This Queer Book Saved My Life. I interview LGBTQ guests from across the rainbow about the life-saving books, about the queer books that had a life-saving impact for them. Plus, we bring in the authors to have a conversation about what it took to write that book and get it out into the world. Go to thisqueerbook.com or find it everywhere you get your podcast. Stay tuned. More with The Gailey Show after this break.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Across this country, LGBTQ rights are under threat. This is a struggle that the LGBTQ community knows all too well. Since 1987, Outfront Minnesota has been fighting for LGBTQ rights and protections here at home, and this work is needed now more than ever. Hard-fought wins here in the state of Minnesota are at risk, from the ban on the harmful practice of conversion therapy that passed in 2023 to transgender protection secured in our State Human Rights Act in 1993, and even national recognition of our same-sex marriage protections that we secured in 2013 are at risk. Outfront Minnesota has helped Minnesota become a national leader in LGBTQ rights, and they will hold the line to make sure we don't lose what we've gained. But they need you. Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
On Saturday, November 15th, One Voice Mixed Chorus presents the concert Protest Lines, a concert and community sing at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium. Hear the chorus perform powerful music of protest and then join them as they teach you songs to take to the streets. This is a true community sing-in for the times we are enduring. Go to onevoicemn.org to buy tickets, onevoicemn.org.
Hey, this is John Parker at Rainbow Road in Minneapolis. The holidays are coming up, and you can buy a limited selection of official Tom of Finland swimwear, tanks, and underwear for that special someone or for yourself. But don't wait on this. When they're gone, they're gone. And while you're there, update your gym look from a wide selection of tanks, t-shirts, and shorts. Rainbow Road is open 7 days a week on Grant Street by Loring Park and all the time at rainbowrd.com. Remember to get it at the road.
I'm Rachel Schroman, owner of Schroman Law, and I believe you deserve information. Our firm offers free quarterly estate planning seminars at our office in St. Paul. At these seminars, you can learn the basics of estate planning from an attorney to help you determine which estate planning documents will meet your needs and goals in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You can learn more and register at our website, schromanlaw.com/events. That's SCHROMEN law.com/events.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. We are coming up on the top of the hour. Joe Reberkenny is the White House correspondent for the Washington Blade and will be joining us on Wednesdays, starting today, bi-weekly, in the second half hour of the show. And we are very grateful for your time, Joe. It feels like, because every day feels like there's so much news that we forget what happened the day before. But the blue wave last week, given your where you're at, being part of the White House press corps, what was that like for you to see those election returns coming in and reporting on it?
Yeah, it was, I will say, overwhelmingly positive in terms of, just hearing some good news, quite honestly, given, in November, it was great. It was great to hear that there is, as I called it, a blue wave hitting the Northeast, and kind of a Democratic comeback from this, swing of the pendulum that felt it was getting ever so right.
Since the election, I don't know if you're based like in Virginia or Maryland or in DC itself, but how, for folks who are in Virginia, have you heard anything about their feelings now being a week out from this fantastic? I mean, they even grew their majority in the House of Commons.
Yeah, it seemed like I don't want to speak for any of them because I am a DC resident, but I will say that everything I've read, every Virginian I've talked to has said that this has been a long time coming, essentially. The former governor, or I guess the current governor, is a Republican, and some of their policies were not super well liked by all of Virginians. But this new push by Spanberger, specifically with ideas of affordability and not targeting trans children, was also a very big message that was harped on. But yeah, it showed a positive sign that people were ready to look towards a progressive-ish future compared to the conservative nature that's going on right now in various forms.
I saw an eye-popping statistic from MSNBC's Jen Psaki, who said that 56% of Winsome Searle Earls, I'm blanking on the MAGA candidate, were anti-trans ads. I mean, did those bleed over into the DC market as well? Like, were you seeing those?
Yes, yeah, it's all the same airwaves. So we were getting them on cable TV. There was this one clip that specifically Spanberger was using to show how the Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears, excuse me, similarly, it's a mouthful, but how there was a disconnect between the actual issues versus what they wanted to hype up and wanted to villainize. Essentially, they were trying to villainize trans kids as their scapegoat, and it didn't work.
It's interesting to me when there are so many, not so many. Well, there are 3 Democratic think tanks, and there's a certain governor who are saying that Democrats need to make a choice between winning elections and standing up for trans healthcare and transgender rights and the broader LGBTQ community. But it seems here with Governor-elect Sherrill in New Jersey, who I didn't know until reading your reporting was part of the Congressional Equality Caucus. Mayor-elect Mamdani basically said, we are standing up for trans rights in New York City, and made a big part of that. I mean, had a section of that in his victory night victory speech, learning now about the ads that Governor-elect Spanberger was doing. I mean, do you think that maybe we have turned a corner and now can say, actually, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can do both of these things, and we did it all over the country?
I can't really speak to I don't want to, speak for the Democratic Party by any means. I don't know what a lot of those people are thinking. But
neither do we.
I would like to hope that we're turning a new corner, and that people realize that, a very small percentage, 1% to 2% of the population is not the reason that your groceries are still getting more expensive, or that, now you're going to be paying a 50-year mortgage instead of a 30-year. Like, there are so many things that I think people are realizing. They're cutting through some of this clutter that certainly some Republican and conservative members of the government are hoping that people are latching onto, rather than issues that impact them every day.
Jim, I think you had a question real quick for Joe?
Well, I remember when Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, was elected, he was critical of, if you remember this, critical race theory, which of course was just telling the truth about our history. But he made a big deal about that and spun up all kinds of resentment and anger amongst parents who didn't want their kids to feel guilty about our history. And I think that's why he got elected. So the one thing about Virginia that I believe is true is that they can go whichever way the wind blows sometimes. And I hope this isn't just another, that in 2 or 4 years, it's not going to swing back the other way, because they are a little flaky. At least they have been. They have been.
Well, I mean, all politics are reactive, and especially in a state. I think the thing that, in addition to them being Virginians realizing how expensive it was to live, under a Trump presidency and all these various issues. I like to think of these midterms. It's not an official midterm, but midterm, if you will. It's like a card kind of for what's going on and how the people are feeling. And Virginians were not feeling taken care of by the Trump administration, especially with a cut to all of these federal jobs. Virginia is a huge space and state for people who commute into DC or who work for various agencies that are scattered around Virginia. They've got a huge naval base. They've got a bunch of technology, information government offices in Virginia. So the not only the government shutdown, but the cutting of just jobs in general did hit them hard. And that was another message Spanberger continued to bring up.
And that's why Trump was booed so much at the football game.
Oh,
people pull him out of his box. Really,
I have to wrap this up, but I'm so grateful that we're going to have your reporting joining us bi-weekly on Wednesdays starting today. You can read all of Joe's reporting at WashingtonBlade.com. We've got links for that in the show notes on our website and in the YouTube description. Joe, we'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't forget to go to the One Voice Mixed Chorus Protest Lines concert this Saturday. You can get tickets at onevoicemn.org. Up next on WCPT 820, Choose Views with Richard Chu. It's in the Matt McNeil Show on AM 950 Radio. After that, stay tuned for Native Roots Radio. And then at 10 p.m. Central, step into the unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghostbox Radio. And until this time tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.
The independently owned Next Chapter